Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How's it going?
Good, thank you. Yeah,
I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
of
Um,
course.
Maybe you can just start by giving us a brief introduction to this film, County Lines.
County Lines is at the core of coming of age story. You follow Tyler and his time in a pupil referral unit. He is preyed upon by a drug dealer, and the film then deals with his descent into that world, and also the relationship he has with his mother and how it destroys their family.
And what attracted you to being involved with this project? I mean, it's a pretty tough topic, tough issue to tackle in a film. So, what made you want to be involved?
Honestly, the script. I think that sometimes when you hear a blurb like that, you can think, "Oh, this is going to be like a melodrama." But the script just blew me away. It was so incredibly well written. And then when I met virtually with Henry, we did a FaceTime meeting. Um, yeah, his passion and his enthusiasm and everything he knew about the world. When I read the script, thought for sure this was written by a black man from like South London. I was like, great, can't wait to meet Henry. And then when this Kiwi popped up, this jolly Kiwi, in fact, yeah, he really knows his stuff.
Mm. And I think what is interesting about the film is it does tackle this tricky topic, but it does it in quite a unique way. He has quite a unique voice, I think, as a director, because it's kind of got that social realist element to it, but then it's also sort of quite poetic, quite lyrical in other places. So is that something else that kind of attracted you? It's quite a unique way of tackling the material.
Yes, when Henry and I were doing our prep, we spoke about films, music, books, like so we had a shared artistic language almost. So I knew that he was going to make it look beautiful, strangely enough, and not in like, it wasn't gratuitous. There's no taking advantage of the world, but yeah, there's a beauty in the way that he sets it up. I think poetic is a good way to put it, actually.
Mm. And how did you see your particular character? I mean, we can see that she's flawed. She's not a perfect person, but she's also very much, someone suffering under the socioeconomic conditions she's found herself in.
Yeah.
And we see her go on a journey, I think, through the film. So how did you sort of prepare to play her? And how did you see her as a character?
I recognized her immediately. I know women like that in that position in my own life. Um, I drew a lot from my own mother. There's a kind of fragility and at the same time like a ferociousness in my mum that I recognized in Toni, and I tried to inform that in my character as well. And yeah, and I just didn't want to shy away from her flaws because she is flawed, but she's also at the same time doing her best. And I knew that I was going to have that gratifying moment at the end where she takes responsibility and ownership of the issues in her relationship with her son and says to him like, I don't blame you, because ultimately as a parent like the buck stops with you as a parent, and I love that she gets to have that.
Mm. And what was it like working with young Conrad? I mean, it's a very tough role, particularly for him to play. I mean, I know he's not quite as young as his character, but still, a teenager. But it seems like you had a really good chemistry and
Yeah.
to get through some of those tougher scenes between you. So, what was it like working with him?
It was really rewarding artistically to work with Conrad. I think that we both strove for the truth in every scene, with Henry there kind of our shepherd, making sure we got to that moment. And we were lucky enough to have a week of rehearsal, which is a gift in itself, and that was a time for us to kind of work on the dynamics of our relationship. We were quite cognizant of the fact that a lot of their relationship is quite fraught. So we didn't have a lot of the social element that sometimes you have on set as actors, when you talk between takes and things like that. That's not to say it wasn't there at all, but we didn't indulge in that, especially on the days like where we had to shoot that big argument scene with the physical stuff. We kind of kept away from each other.
Mm. And was there a particular moment that you found really challenging? I mean, maybe that scene stands out as, and did you think it was important though to kind of show those parts of their reality, of those violent scenes? Because even though they're hard to watch, it seems like an important part of kind of understanding just how difficult circumstances these people are living in.
Yeah, that scene was really emotional, physically challenging and emotionally challenging. We also kind of have to be aware that Tabitha is quite young. She plays Aaliyah, and that always got me really kind of emotionally stressed on the day. I was always thinking about, what's Tabitha seeing? What's Tabitha seeing? The same with the scene when Harrison comes and knocks on the door and he attacks me. That made me so upset that I thought about the idea of Tabitha seeing it. We didn't ever have her in the room, but just the idea of it was enough of an emotional key for me to get into the scene.
And what was it like working with Henry then as a director? And it does seem like, because films like this don't have a massive budget, but it's able to convey so much within the resources you have, and it seems like he had a real vision for it.
That's exactly what it was. His vision, I think, was the anchor for everybody on set, and his enthusiasm and passion for the project. I mean, it was infectious, but it kind of trickled its way down. Everybody felt that way. Everybody was bringing their best work. I felt on set that I was a part of something really special. And yeah, we weren't filming in glamorous circumstances, but it needed to be that way. It couldn't have been any other way to get the truth of the film.
I think people have heard of, county lines, this, these vulnerable young kids being taken advantage of, but it's perhaps something people see as a passing thing, as a headline, or, stats in the newspaper. So what do you think a film like this can do in terms of making people kind of understand the human story behind all that?
I think that it goes a long way into showing that it's easier for it to happen than you think. I think parents like to think that they have a good handle on what their children are doing, but even if your child wasn't in a pupil referral unit, it's very easy for someone, unfortunately, all too easy for someone to groom your child and to take them down the wrong path, as it were. Yeah, it's quite frightening, I think. I think that scene where you see that after she has that conversation with Harris's character and she gives him the money and she sees that he's already got another child in the car, it's just a conveyor belt, an even younger child.
I think that's it. And it perhaps can feel quite depressing in the sense that it seems such a complex set of factors that lead to this happening, that it seems hard to know, how you would even begin to start tackling it. Yet there is that sense of hope in that, this one particular kid looks like he's going to go on a straighter path after this. So there's kind of that double-edged sword to the ending, maybe.
Yeah, I think Henry was, he was really smart in the way that he ended the film, because he has left the audience with some hope, but it's not, tied up neatly with a bow. Because that's not life. I'm sure that, Conrad's still in the pupil referral unit. He's still kind of fighting the odds to become a success. It's incredibly difficult, that learning environment. My own brother went to a pupil referral unit, so I know all too well, like, they're not the best environments for success.
And does it, how do you think this film will play out in the particular moment we're in? I mean, I was reading the other day that actually through the pandemic, even more kids are being exploited, and university students, who are hard up. So it's like, you'd think this is something that maybe wouldn't be as much of a problem, but it's actually worsening. So, how does it feel to have it play out in this particular moment?
I mean, I've been ready for this film to come out for like a year now. I'm happy it's coming out whenever. I want people to see it because I think it is important. And I think, I think it's always going to have relevance, unfortunately.
And have you got any other projects in the pipeline? And do you know what you're going to be doing next?
No. The thing that I was going to do has been a victim of the pandemic, like so many of us. So I can't really complain about it. But yeah, no, I'm slowly starting to meet for things again now, though. So it feels like things are happening. My husband went to work recently, so I know that things can happen. It's just, it's a different world on set now. He had to stay by himself in a tent, like on set. Like he had his own little tent that he was there until he went to do his scene. He wears his mask until he gets to the scene.
And perhaps kind of, looking at the broader cinema landscape, do you feel that now we are seeing more opportunities for more like interesting, complex and exciting female characters? How do you see that the broader cinema landscape has been shifting?
Yes, definitely. Although I also felt that way 10 years ago, and now with hindsight, it wasn't. So I think that it always feels really hopeful, and it's incremental, but slowly but surely. It's not enough. It's never going to be enough. And I think that maybe the real issue is kind of behind camera representation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
The people making decisions.
I think I'm out of time, but thank you so much for sharing all that with me, and best of luck with the release of this film.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Yeah, thank you. Cheers.
Bye.